Thank you, Myla. So good morning, everyone. Let me share the presentation. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, sorry. So we can start with the learning outcomes. So I'm starting by telling you what we get out today. So on the knowledge side, we will make sure you leave here understanding which European Union programs exist for digitalization, accessibility, and inclusion. So where to go when you want to look for a grant and what role networks and partnerships play in all of these. In terms of practical skills, you will have a clearer picture of how to match a funding opportunity to your organization's specific situation. So basically what a project proposal needs to look like to be competitive, and also how to build the kind of European partnerships that last beyond a single project. Then there is a third dimension, which is the attitude. So we want you to walk out of this call generally motivated with an entrepreneurial mindset and, of course, a real belief that collaboration and networking are not extras, but they are the main means of this long-term growth. The training is divided into three parts. So in the first, we will map out the EU funding world. So basically what programs exist, what they support, and how the funds, so the money actually flows. In the second part, we get practical. So how do you find a call? How do you read it? And how do you put together an application that stands a chance? In the third and last part, we zoom out to the long game. So how to connect with European networks, how to find the right partners, and how to make the European engagement a structural part of your organization rather than a one-time experiment. So let's start with the first unit. So we can say that before you can apply for anything, you need to understand the landscape you are operating in. So this is exactly our start. So get a clear map of what is out there and how it is organized. So well, I want to start basically with something that maybe many of you will recognize. So when small cultural organizations think about EU funding, there are basically three obstacles that tend to come out. The first is a sense of unfamiliarity. So the processes, the reporting templates, and everything else regarding these this work can feel designed for someone else, someone maybe bigger. The second one is the impression that this work was built exactly for these big institutions. And the third, which is very practical because regards the concern of the workload, so the reports, the financial documentations, the audits, and so on. So these are the real challenges, not imaginary ones, but they are challenges that can be managed, and it is exactly what the training is here to help you do. Okay, so most of you of us are used to thinking about funding in terms of local or national grants, but the European Union also makes significant resources available for culture at European level. And there are 3 programs in particular that are relevant to your work. So here I want to ask you first question. So is there any of you who happen to work on projects in these programs except for Erasmus+? Well, if not, I will try to give you a short breakdown structure of them, but I don't know, I'll give you the floor.
Well, let me answer first. We, with the Fondazione Gentile Abruzzo, have experience with European fundings, but only with Erasmus+. We, as you already know, we participated in the Key Action 1 with the small-scale partnership program with the project DIGIMUSE, which was the basis of the DIGIMUSE ENTER project, so only with Erasmus+. And recently we have sent a project proposal for the Erasmus+ in the field of youth, and we really hope it will be approved.
Thank you. Anybody else? No? Okay, well, because we are going to see each program. So the first one is Creative Europe. So this is the program most directly designed for the cultural and creative sector, because it funds things like digitalization of cultural content, projects that have an inclusive dimension, and actively ensures cross-border collaboration. The second one is that everybody knows. It's briefly, it covers a much wider field because it covers education, training, youth, mobility, and so on and so forth. The third one is the Digital Europe program, which is more technical in its nature, because it focuses on building digital capacity across Europe, including those areas like artificial intelligence, data infrastructure, and digital skills. Cultural organization can use it, for example, to develop inclusive online services. So staying on Creative Europe for a moment, this program has a strong and explicit focus on digital transformation, on making culture more accessible and inclusive. So it is not just about funding individual projects, but it is designed to encourage cooperation and innovation across borders. So for you as small cultural organizations, thinking about how to take its collections online or reach new audiences through digital tools, Creative Europe is the most natural starting point. Now let's look at Erasmus Plus in more depth, where the program is built around 3 key actions. Key action 1 is more about mobility of individuals, so staff, learners, young people, and includes things like virtual exchanges and language learning. The second one, which is the one of this project, so DIGIMUSE ENTER, which is the key action 2, it is the most relevant for most cultural organizations in this room because it is about cooperation between organizations and includes, as you can see here, partnership for cooperation, partnerships for excellence, and partnership for innovation. The third action is more about policy dialogue and coordination of the European level. So each of these key action has its own rules, budgets, eligibility criteria, and understanding which one of it fits your project idea is the first practical step to write a competitive proposal. So within Erasmus+, the program is also divided into 6 thematic areas or strands, as you can see here. So youth, sport, vocational education and training, school education, adult education, and higher education. As a small museum or generally a small cultural organization, you will most likely be looking at maybe the adult education or youth strands or higher education if you want to work with universities, depending on the kind of activities you run and, of course, the kind of audiences you work with. So knowing your strand helps you find the right section of the program guide and the right set of priorities that you want to align with them. Each year the European Commission defines the priorities that Erasmus+ projects must respond to. So basically, any consortium applying for funding needs to choose at least one priority. So here we have 2 layers. The first layer is shared across all strands, and these are called horizontal priorities. And there are 4 of them. So you have inclusion and diversity, which is about giving equal access to people who face different barriers. Digital transformation, which is about helping organizations adopt digital tools and build digital skills. Then you have green transition, which is about sustainability and environmental awareness. And finally, civic engagement, which covers civic participation, intercultural dialogue, and critical thinking. The second layer that I mentioned before is specific to each strand. So, for example, if you are in the adult education strand, your strand-specific priorities will be different from those in the youth or higher education strands. So when you write a proposal, you need to make a convincing case that your project genuinely responds to the priorities that you have selected at the beginning. So the Digital Europe program instead has 5 thematic strands. I will focus on the 3 that are most relevant to cultural operators. So the first one is high performance computing. So this may sound distant from a small organization, but it includes support for a large-scale digitization of collections, which is very much your territory. The second strand covers artificial intelligence and cybersecurity. Here there are opportunities related to common European data spaces, including for cultural heritage and also to using artificial intelligence to improve accessibility and audience engagement. The third strand, advanced digital skills, is perhaps the most immediately accessible because it funds training programs, both short and long, that are designed to upskill people working in sectors like yours. So once you know which program interests you, you need to is handled by the European Commission itself or by one of its executive agencies based in Brussels, which are the European Education and Cultural Executive Agency and the Health and Digital Executive Agency. The second model is the indirect management, which handle the indirect management, which where the responsibility, is delegated to national agencies operating in each member state. So these agencies basically publish their own calls, evaluate then the applications, and support the applicants directly in their national context. So for small organizations, the second route, so through national agency, is typically the most accessible entry point, because it means that you are working with people in your country who understand your context. You might wonder where all these programs come from legally. So every European program is established through a formal regulation approved by both the European Parliament and the Council of the European Union. That regulation defines the program's time frame, so its objectives, who is eligible to participate, and how much money is allocated. For example, Creative Europe, for instance, is based on this regulation that you can read here. What this means for you in practice is important, because the rules are not invented. Sorry, I just read that you cannot hear me well, or not. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you now.
Okay, perfect. So, sorry. Sì. Sorry. I'm just looking for the right connection. Yeah. Sorry, we're trying to adjust the connection problem. Okay, sorry. I think now you will hear me better because I changed the room, right?
Yes, Lisa, I confirm.
Okay. So sorry. Okay, let me share again the... Okay, can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so, well, I was talking about the European regulation that stands behind this EU funding mechanism. Basically, this legal base guarantees you the stability and, of course, also the transparency of the funding rules that do not change during the time, but are always the same. Within this legal framework, the European programs operate on 7 years. We are currently in the work with you will. Sorry. Mi appare. Non mi appare.
Lisa, are you there?
Sorry. Can you see me or hear me?
Yes, we can hear you and see you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I don't know why we have these Wi-Fi problems today. Okay. Perfect. So let me start again. You can see the presentation. Yes. Okay. So I was saying that within this legal framework, so the European programs operate on this 7-year budget cycle, which is the multi-annual financial framework. We are now in the 2021-2027 framework. So the annual work program sets the EU's priorities for that year and helps you check whether your project idea is aligned with what the Commission really wants to fund right now. The program guide is essentially the rule book, so it tells you in detail who can apply, what kinds of projects are funded, and also how they will be evaluated. Finally, the call for proposals is where it all gets specific. So you have the deadline, the topic, the application form, the maximum budget, and so on and so forth. So these 3 documents read together give you everything you need to decide whether to apply and then how to structure your proposal. One thing that distinguishes European programs from most national or local grant is that they are fundamentally built on collaboration. So transnational cooperation is not a bonus, but it is a requirement. So projects, as you may know, typically need at least 2 or 3 organizations from different European or associated countries. The expectation is that partners generally complement each other. So one might bring research expertise, another one community outreach, digital capacity, and so on. In formal terms, one organization takes the role of the coordinator. They carry out the activities and contribute to reporting. The relationship is formalized through the mandate letters that you have signed. For example, in this project of DIGIMUSE, you have signed at the beginning of the project or even during the submission process. Then the grant agreement, which is the binding contract with the European Commission or the agency. One piece of practical advice is that if you ever never done a new project before and you wanna start playing in this system, start as a partner rather than as coordinator. I'm going to bring you the example of DIGIMUSE. We have some partners that are newcomers and that start as partners, not as coordinator. The Fondazione, for example, has already done another project, so now they are working as a coordinator because they already have that experience as partner, for example. Now let me spend a moment on a feature of European funding that tends to reassure lots of organizations, which is the lump sum model. So this is a simplified way of managing grants that a growing number of EU programs now use. So basically, instead of having to track and justify every single expense with invoices and receipts, you agree upfront on a fixed amount that corresponds to your project's activities and outputs. So you receive the money when you can show that the agreed work has actually been done. So not when you present a pile of financial documentation. For Erasmus Plus Cooperation Partnership, as in this project, this model is now mandatory. Creative Europe also uses it with some variations. In the case of the Digital Europe program, it is different because it is often on the basis of actual cost. So the lump sum does not automatically apply there. But wherever it does apply, it represents a significant reduction in administrative burden, which, as we said at the start, is one of the main barriers for small organizations. So now, before we move on to Unit 2, I would like you to take a few minutes to think about your own organization. So the question here is simple. So which of the European priorities that we have just discussed is most relevant to what you do and what you need? So is it digitalization? So for example, moving your collections, archives, or platform online, or is it inclusion? So reaching audience who currently have limited access to your activities, or digital skills, so training your staff to work with new tools and technologies. So once you have identified your priority, the task is to think about which program and which strand it would most naturally fall under. So this is the foundation of any funding strategy. So knowing where your idea fits before you start looking for the right call. So we'll leave you some minutes to think about the answer, maybe. Anybody has any idea?
Well, an idea could be to digitize the physical collections and archives of our museums, and in order to expand, enhance our digital platform, and in that case we would even have a bigger audience online, and it would be inclusive. I don't know exactly which strand it would be, but the idea is digitize.
Okay, good. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, nobody? Okay, then we can move on with the second unit. Okay, so now that we have a map of the funding landscape, it is time to get practical. So the second unit is about what you actually do. So how you find the right opportunity, how you read a call, and how you build a proposal that has a genuine chance of being funded. The European Union runs more than 40 programs and hundreds of funding lines. So that is a lot, and it can feel paralyzing. But the mistake that many organizations make is starting from the money. So browsing portals, looking for something that might fit. The better approach is instead to start from your own project idea. So before you open any portal, ask yourself four questions. So what is the problem or opportunity I want to address? What concrete outcomes do I want to achieve? What activity will I actually run? And who are the people I'm trying to reach or involve? So if you can answer those questions clearly, the task of identifying the right program becomes much more manageable, because you're looking for a program that fits your idea and not trying to reshape your idea to fit in a program. So once you have the clarity on your project idea, the European Union gives you several tools to find the right funding opportunity. So the main entry point is the EU Funding and Tender Portal, which brings together calls from all programs in one place. In the next slides, we walk through the practical steps of registering and using it. But the important thing to understand now is that having an account and being familiar with the portal before a specific call even opens is a real advantage, because it means that that you are already set up and oriented when the moment comes to act. The very first step before you do anything else is to create an EU login account. So this is the European Commission's central authentication system. So with a single account, you get access to all European Union digital platforms, the funding and tenders portals, the Erasmus Plus tools, the survey platforms, and more. So you will not need a separate login for each one, but think of it as your universal key to the European Union's digital infrastructure. So it takes a few minutes to set up, and it is the prerequisite for submitting any application or registering your organization in the EU systems. So with your EU login in place, the next step is simply to start exploring. So the funding and tender portals, as you can see here, allows you to search and filter calls by program, by topic, by deadline, and so on. And spending some time browsing, so even outside of a specific application cycle, helps you understand the rhythm of calls, so the kind of language used, or the types of organization that typically apply, or the scale of budget that is involved, and so on. Here you can find the programs that I mentioned you before, so Creative Europe, Digital Europe program, and Erasmus Plus program. So when you find a call that interests you, the critical next step is to read it carefully and analytically. So let's take Erasmus Plus as our example. So as you may know, every Erasmus Plus call is structured in the same way. So once you know how to read one, you can read all of them. So first, the objectives and the priorities. This tells you what the call is trying to achieve, and you need to show that your project contributes to at least one horizontal priority. The second, the type of action. So this determines the scale, the budget range, and the kind of activities that you are going to implement during the project. Third, the eligibility rules. So these are non-negotiable. So if your organization or your partnership does not meet these eligibility rules, then you cannot apply. Fourth, the budget and duration. So the maximum grant available, how long the project can run, and so on. Fifth and last, the evaluation criteria. So this section is perhaps the most important of all, because it tells you exactly what the evaluators will be looking for when they score your application. So the Erasmus Plus guide is the reference document that covers all of these in details. It is a long document, of course, but you do not need to read it from cover to cover, but because what matters is that you find the section corresponding to your key action and your strength, and you read it fully. For each type of action, the guide covers the priorities, the objectives, the eligibility criteria, the award criteria, and finally the financial rules. So treat it as your technical manual, so compliant. So here we have an example, the small-scale partnerships, because if this is your first time approaching EU funding, maybe do not start trying to coordinate a large project. Small-scale partnerships exist precisely for organizations in your position. And we have the direct example with DIGIMUSE ENTER, because DIGIMUSE was born as a small scale, and after it translates it in a cooperation partnership. That is because small scales come with lower budgets, simpler financial rules, and a much lighter administrative load. So they are designed to be manageable for a team that maybe does not have a dedicated EU project officer, and they give you the chance to learn the system without being maybe overwhelmed by it. Then, when you have this is the table of contents of our Erasmus Plus guide. Here you can see what I was mentioning before. So the key action that you are going to select, and under key action 2, you have the small scale partnerships and also the cooperation partnership of, for example, DIGIMUSE Enter. When you are ready to write an application, the first thing you need is a generally clear project idea. By clear, I mean an idea that can answer a fundamental question. So, what problem are you solving and for whom? From there, you connect your idea to at least one of the Erasmus Plus horizontal priorities, which I remember to be inclusion, digital transformation, green transition, and civic engagement. And then you formulate your objectives in a smart way, so specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. The vague objectives are one of the most common reasons proposals lose points. So evaluators want to see that you know exactly what you are trying to achieve, and that you will be able to tell whether you have succeeded. The second pillar of a strong application is the partnership. So partners should complement each other. So which one should bring something to the project that the others cannot provide on their own. So every partner should have a real and balanced role, not just appear on paper to meet the minimum requirements. And the relationship needs to be established well before submission. So agree on responsibilities, on communication processes, on how decision will be made. So a consortium where partners barely know each other is visible in the proposal and tends to score poorly. So it is important to communicate early and agree on responsibilities well before the submission. The third pillar is the design of your activities and your budget. So activities need to be realistic, built around your organization, and your partners can deliver within the project timeline and with the resources you have. So these activities need to be coherent with your objectives. Every activity should be there because it contributes to a result. And the budget needs to be clean, logical, and proportionate. So every budget line should make sense in relation to activities that it supports. So if an evaluator looks at your budget and cannot understand why a particular cost is there, that is a problem. So then the fourth element, and one that really weighted in evaluations is impact and sustainability. So here this is where you need to show that your project has a lasting value beyond its own lifetime. So what changes after the project ends, or how will the results continue to be used, or who else will benefit from it. So these are the questions that distinguish good proposals from an excellent one. Here there's another exercise. Well, maybe it is not really good to do this exercise now here in call, but I will explain it to you, and maybe you can try to do it in your organization, because this can really help you to start thinking about the planning of a proposal. So here you have a scenario. So you work for a small cultural organization and you want to apply for Erasmus Plus with an idea which is centered on building a digital archive of local traditions and developing your staff's competencies in this area. So your task, that you can do it individually or in small groups, is to sketch out the basics of a project proposal. So which horizontal priority does your idea respond to? What are your objectives expressed in smart terms? Think at least of at least 2 or more partner organizations from other countries that could really add something to the project, the activities that you will run, and what results would they produce. And finally, how do you ensure that the results remain accessible and useful after the project ends, including for people that face barriers to access. You can use the tool of our project that I will show you later, which is basically a template of the planification of an European Union proposal. But we will see it after the training. Well, if you have any question, I cannot see you because I have the presentation, but if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to interrupt me and ask. Okay, sorry. We are now at the third and final unit. So we have covered the landscape and the application process. Now we want to zoom out and think about something bigger. So how do you make European engagement a sustainable part and a sustainable part of how your organization operates, rather than a one-time effort? So this is what the third unit is about. And let me start with the reality that many first-time applicants do not anticipate. Finding the right partners is often harder than writing the proposal itself. So most European programs require organization from at least 2 or 3 different countries. So you cannot go far without a network. And beyond meeting the formal requirement, the quality of your partnership has a direct impact on the quality of your project. So where can you start? The most effective approach is gradual. So begin by connecting with national contact points and, for example, creative Europe desks in your country. These are people whose job is exactly to help organizations like yours engage with European funding. From there, you expand European networks. So within those networks, use for example, the internal forums or the member directories to reach out directly to organizations that work in a similar space. You can also attend EU events, so workshops, conferences, information days. Here you can meet potential partners in person. So once you are part of a network, mention that membership in your proposal. This is a really credibility signal. So here in this table, you can find several European networks that are particularly relevant to small cultural operators. You have Cultural Action Europe, which is the broadest because it is a major interdisciplinary network for the cultural sector, which give members access to policy discussions, partner searchers, and working groups. Then you have France Europe, HALES, and the EMCC, so the European Network of Cultural Centers, which covers museum, community hubs, and similar spaces. The Creative Europe networks that I mentioned before, and the European Union National Institutes for Culture, which is more institutional in nature, but useful if you are pursuing, for example, international cultural diplomacy. And finally, the DIGIMUSE network, so the network of that we created of our project, which is the first European network of demo ethno-anthropological small museums. And it is a space for sharing good practices and collectively explore European funding opportunities. Beyond networks, there are also dedicated tools for finding project partners. Here you can find a brief description of them, but I would like to show you more in detail in the second tool of this training later. So here are a few principles for building effective partnerships. First, do not start looking for partners when a call opens, but by then it is usually too late to build a genuine relationship. Second, reach out to organizations whose mission is close to yours well in advance. So share with them what are you looking for, what are you working on, and explore common ground. Then be specific about what your organization can actually offer. So partners are not looking for generic collaboration, but they are looking for organizations that bring something concrete and complementary. Then invest in the relationship over time. So share information, attend the same events, stay in touch between projects. The best partnerships in the EU funding world are built on trust that accumulates gradually, so not on a rushed agreement to co-sign a proposal. To make this concrete, on the EU funding and tender portal, once you are logged in, there is a dedicated section for partner search. So you can use filters to find organizations that have expressed interest in specific topics or programs, or that have participated in past projects. More importantly, you can also create a profile for your own organization. So you can create a profile of your organization describing who you are, what your areas of expertise are, and what kind of collaboration you are looking for. That profile makes you findable. So organizations across Europe that are building consortia and looking for partners with your profile will see you. And this is a simple action that can have a real effective consequences. So here is a shift in perspective I want to propose. So rather than approaching EU funding as something you do when a call comes up, consider treating it as an ongoing process, ongoing organizational practice. So that means monitoring calls regularly, keeping your documents up to date, or staying active in your networks, or I don't know, maintaining contact with potential partners, even when there is no immediate deadline. So a useful habit is a simple monthly check. Here you can see some features. So, for example, have you checked, have you looked what calls are currently open, or is your funding calendar up to date, and so on and so forth. These small habits maintained consistently mean you are always ready when the right opportunity actually appears. Here is, let me give you a concrete roadmap for getting started. So the first step is to define your strategic objectives. So what do you want? What do you want to implement? Why do you want EU funding? And what are the 2 or 3 specific things you want to achieve with it? The second step is to identify one person in your organization that will be responsible of your engagement. Then be ready with the documents. So these documents are requested in almost every application, and having them ready saves enormous time. Then the first step is to start monitoring calls. So, for example, Creative Europe publishes most of its calls between October and January, with deadlines between February and May. Erasmus Plus launches its main annual calls in November or December and close them in February or March, and so on. So once you are ready, here is the path from idea to submitted project. So you select your entry point. For most organizations, this means starting with either Erasmus Plus cooperation, Key Action 2 small scales partnership, or the Creative Europe small cooperation projects. Then you will build your partnership, prepare your proposal, so structure a strong application based on work packages and activities and results for each work package. Then you submit your proposal and trying to commit to making this a long-term practice. So reviewing your EU funding strategy every year, keeping your partner relationships active, and investing in your team's capacity to write stronger proposal each time. So this is the last exercise that I will explain briefly. Basically, here it is a way to help you write your partner information form that you have written, for example, at the beginning of this project during the submission process. So the you have to think it as your European calling card. So it needs to say who you are, what your organization does, what experience you have in your international projects, what specific expertise does your staff has, and so on. So when your coordinator is asking you for your partner information form, you have already you already have one prepared. So this is the end of the training. I mean the theoretical part. I don't know if you have any questions or statements or doubts, we can discuss about it all together. And later I can show you the two tools of this training.
If I may, I had
Thank you, Lisa.
Sorry, Myra, can you hear me, right?
Go on, go on.
Okay. First, thank you, Lisa. And I was, while you were explaining the Unit 3 about the networking aspect, you indeed mentioned the DIGIMUSE network. That is the network that was created during the DIGIMUSE small scale, and that now through this project we want to keep alive. We want to give life to this network and find new members. So I wanted to highlight this aspect to the partners, because when you're going to test this training material, we also want you to promote somehow to disseminate this network. So making sure to mention to your to the external participants that you will reach to mention this network. After this training section, we would also reshare with you information about this network, also the survey that we are using to find new members, to ask people to join the network, actually to manifest their interest in participating in the network. Also because we want to understand how this can function. Basically, it's just an informal community of practices, but we want somehow find a way to give life to this community during this project. So this is the only thing that I have. I don't know, Myla, if you had some comment. Otherwise, maybe Lisa, you can show the tools to partner also, because for the same objective. So because they want everybody to be then able to go to external practitioners and show what we have on the platform and see if it can be useful or not, if adjustments are required.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Francesca. Yeah, let me show you the two training tools. Okay, so this is the, can you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is our website, and here we have the two tools under this training. So okay. Let me see if I can, no. Are you able to see it like this?
It's a bit smaller. Maybe try to, with the three dots on your right side of the screen and then click zoom. Yeah, right there.
Okay. Okay, here now.
Or you can see the three line of the left of this screen. You can click it.
Sorry.
The top left or the top left of this. Yeah. Go up a bit. Left button. Three line.
Sorry, I cannot hear you. I don't know if anybody else.
I think that you should try to enlarge the
I
document.
think the three lines on the...
Yes, the three line at the left, top left. You see the top left three line. I
Yes.
cannot see you. No.
Yes. 1 second.
we are testing usability of the tools online, live. This is also one of the reason we are here actually doing this session.
Okay, 1 second.
Otherwise, you can just download it.
Okay, yes, I just downloaded it. Okay, now you can see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. So basically, this is the template that I was mentioning you before. This is a European proposal planning template based on the Erasmus Plus form. So when you are submitting Erasmus proposal to the platform, and it is divided in 8 sections. Well, I'll start with the first one, the 8 sections. So you have the project overview at first, and each box, also here, for example, you have some guiding questions or some guiding tips. So here, for example, you have the project title and acronym, the short description of your idea, duration of your project, and here you have all the tips and guidelines. The second section is always about relevance and objectives. So the problems that you want to address, the priorities that you will align with your needs, the main objectives that, as I mentioned before, are based on the SMART objective concept. So specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Here also you have all the tips and questions. The third section of an Erasmus proposal regards the needs and target groups. So who are the beneficiaries of your proposals? Which gaps or needs these beneficiaries have? And how will you make your proposal be more inclusive and digital? The fourth part is about partnership roles. So here you will explain the partner by partner, the expertise that each partner has, and the expertise that brings in the project, and why is it relevant for your proposal. Exactly, what does each partner bring to the project? The fifth section is about activities and work plan. So here you have all the work plan breakdown structure. So you will have, for example, the work package 1, which is about the project management with the main activities and deliverables that you will implement during the project duration, with the milestones, deadlines, the leadership of the partners, and so on. You will describe, of course, each activity. So, as I said, deliverables, the lead partner, the milestones, the deadline, and so on. The sixth part is about activities and work plan. So the concrete deliverables. Here are some examples of website, toolkit app, digital archive, or network, and so on. The impact, usually it is divided in in different levels. So you will have an impact at the local level, regional level, national level, and European level, or organizational level. Here is the part about sustainability that also I mentioned before. So how you will continue with the projects deliverables and deliverables at the end of the project, how you will ensure the project implementation after the end of it. The second part is about communication and dissemination, so the sharing of the results, and of course the kind of public that you want to reach. This is really important. For example, so how will you ensure visibility of the European support? Because you have to imagine the European Union, so the national agency, as your main sponsor in this project. So it is important that everything is visible. So, for example, the EU logo, disclaimer, and so on. The last part is about risk and budget planning. So the main budget categories, so the staff or the travels, the events, the equipment, and also the risk that would affect your project. So I don't know, the change in the partnership, the delays, or technology failures, and so on. So this tool is really useful, I think, because it gives you the opportunity to start writing a proposal based on these guidelines and tips that are really useful when it is your first time writing a project proposal. Then I will show you the second tool. Also here, if you have any questions, while I open the second one. Okay.
Regarding this tool that you showed, Lisa, I would like to just highlight the fact that this is based on some guiding tools that EPIC and IHF we usually also share with the other partners, where we have to guide some organizations in the writing of the proposal or part of the proposal. So it's based, maybe now you have seen a lot of written things, a lot of words, but actually it's a validated template, meaning that we use it also in our work when collaborating with organization, and can help them in the writing of the proposal. Yes, so it might be that is useful, and there are many recommendations that are based on the experience that we have at IHF and EPIC with the writing of the proposals, the evaluation of the agency, etc. So it can be useful.
Yeah. Okay. So. Okay, here it is the second tool. I cannot find the download part, but I will just try to. Okay, well, this is just a repository of all the EU programs that I mentioned you before. So Creative Europe, Erasmus Plus, and Digital Europe program. Here we have the strand, the focus, and the link to find more about them. And here you have the useful portal for project application and partner search. So, for example, the one that I mentioned is the funding and tender portals. Also here you will see which type of portal it is, and what can help you work with the find. So for example, these are the ones useful for the networking. So how you can search partners, or how you can let the other partners find you. Here you have the main focus of each portal and the link related to them. I also added the DIGIMUSE network that I mentioned before and that Francesca highlights, because it is the one that we created for in our project. So I think this is the most relevant one in all this list. I think this repository is really useful when you are trying to find partners, or you are trying to be ready to find a call and a call for a program or for a specific strand and so on. So you can monitor all these links to be ready to write your proposal. So well, I think that we cover everything in this training. I don't know. Let me know if